All right, cool. Welcome back for another episode of the State of E-commerce. As always, I'm TJ Highland with my co-host Ben Stein, and this week we have Isaac Kuhlman of Real Coaching, and we'll touch a little bit about what that is. But first and foremost, a little bit about Isaac. He is a Amazon brand developer for the last 7-8 years, responsible for more than $12 million in revenue on Amazon. Along with Kirsty Verity, he's founded Real Coaching, which we're going to dive into in a little bit. And they've helped over 1,000 Amazon sellers grow their businesses with strategies to achieve what we call their freedom goals. And I think we'll talk about that too. So, right now he really likes to enjoy his freedom with his lifelong passion of rock music, producing and recording an album, cycling 11 miles a day, writing a poetry book, and traveling the world. Isaac, a little bit personal about you, but welcome to the State of E-commerce.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I try to enjoy my life, I suppose.
100%. I think that's really what the selling online or selling on Amazon has really done for so many people is take away that strict 9 to 5 job, going to the office every single day, and for the right people with the right spirit, give them the opportunity to succeed in other manners, and also really take control or take back control over their own life.
Yeah, I think when I first got into e-commerce, I had no intentions on starting my own business when I was, kind of coming up. I was like, I'll just get a job, I'll save money, I'll retire, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just like everybody thinks when they're starting out, getting out of college. But it was one of those things that essentially, as I started to realize that I don't want to wait to retirement to like have fun in my life. I don't want to sit back when I'm 60, 65 and go, man, I wish I would have done more things when I was younger because I was healthy then. Now I'm old and decrepit. Like, I don't want to be like sitting there like, I can't do anything anymore. I can't travel. I can't do all this stuff or whatever. So I definitely made a conscious decision to kind of change what my trajectory was back in about 2012, 2013.
Absolutely. And seems to be working out pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do is talk a little bit about Real and the coaching that you guys do, how it differs between that and training, and then dive into some of your thoughts and opinions on 2021. So Ben, why don't we jump in?
Yeah, TJ, thanks so much. And Isaac, thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to learn some more about Real and your story about how this was developed. So to go ahead and kick it off, yeah, can you just tell us what Real Coaching is and how this was developed and the idea of where it came from and how you help Amazon sellers?
For sure. So back in 2013, I started running a brand that was already selling on Amazon. Worked with another guy. He essentially got me into it because I was working I was an operations manager, indoor go-kart facility here in Las Vegas, and basically got that to be a profitable endeavor. And I was kind of, talking to this guy who happened to come in a lot, and he was like, yeah, well, I sell on Amazon. I was like, oh, cool, like whatever. And he was like, let me show you how it works and the kinds of ins and outs. He didn't really show me much, but he showed me, he was selling cell phone accessories at the time, showed me what the products were, how he gets ranking, how he does customer service, the kind of basics. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, I kind of understand that, but I don't really get it yet. So he was like, you should come work for me or, help me blow these brands up and scale them. Cause he had that Amazon acumen, but he didn't have necessarily running a business with like employees and understanding margins and metrics and all this other stuff. So I kind of brought that to the table. So we kind of co-developed the brands, and when he had one brand, we kind of co-developed more brands and scaled this on an operation size level. And essentially the day before I was supposed to start work, the seller account got shut down because he was trying to do some review manipulation and got shut down. And it was doing like $330,000 a month, and it went to zero. And I had just quit my job. I was, it was the Sunday night before the Monday of my first day. And I was like, oh, holy crap. Like, I guess I'm going back to beg for my job because I don't know what to do. We figured it out. Like he said, you know what, we've got to remove all the inventory from the seller account, which had 90,000 units in it. So that was $45,000 in just returns, so just to get that back, we had to open another seller account and start sending stuff in. And along the way, had to learn how to, do a lot of other stuff that I wouldn't probably had to have learned had I jumped on that moving, floating ship. So I basically had to resurrect a sunken ship, and we did it. So by, that was April of 2013. By December of 2013, we're back up to $500,000 in sales, had multiple number one products on Amazon, and it was doing quite well. Long story short, basically we started creating a sourcing and kind of product development training course. And that was called Sourcing Profits. That came out, I want to say 2015. Yeah, 2015. And that was actually, did $1 million in sales in about 9 months. We didn't really want to move that forward. And my kind of course with his business kind of ran its course because I had actually outsourced everything that I was doing. I wrote SOPs for every single operation that I did. And I went from working 60 hours a week to like 5 or maybe less. So I wasn't doing anything for his business. And I said, you know what? You should stop paying me. Like, I don't really see how this is going to help your business. I'll just go do my own thing. You do your own thing. You've got your business like on autopilot almost at this point. All you got to do is launch products. So at that point, I was kind of coaching within that Sourcing Profits and helping people. And then I didn't really have my own Amazon stuff yet. So I was kind of just my own brands at that point. So I was kind of leveraging or transitioning into that. Started my own brands, and then met with Kirsty actually 2 weeks after I told Paul, the guy's name, that we should go our separate ways, or essentially just, we're not going to work with you on your Amazon business anymore. Literally 2 weeks later, I met Kirsty, and then we actually started forming some coaching stuff, which was kind of just fortuitous, or, whatever you call serendipitous, I guess. We found that we were both doing very similar things. We were helping people try to establish their business, grow their business. And what we were finding is because we were giving people free advice, just because we were trying to help people, nobody was doing anything. Legitimately, like everybody would just sit there and, say, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I remember we actually had this like Amazon class. This was before I met Kirsty, where I sat in a room for 8 hours, kind of whiteboarding processes and stuff. And like had like 8 people in the room trying to learn Amazon. Not one person did anything with that information. So I was like, okay, well, it's pretty clear that when people don't have any reason to move the business forward or join the business or start the business because they haven't paid anything, they're not going to do it. So Kirsty and I basically kind of talked about it. We had similar experiences and similar desires to help people achieve their goals. So we said, let's make this real. Like, let's actually do this for real. Let's get some coaching together. Let's develop this out. Let's make some, processes and strategies and bring people on that actually need the help and understand that mentoring is a highly sought after, guide, right? So like, I always say, Tiger Woods, greatest golfer in the entire world, still had a swing coach. Wasn't that he wasn't great at golf, was the best golfer, but as he's, doing this thing over and over and over, he needs somebody outside externally to look in at what he's doing and say, hey, you know what? The reason why you missed that shot is because you lifted your head up too early. Same thing with Amazon business. For example, when you're launching a product, if you stop investing early in your launch and just say, okay, look, I'm on page 1. I'm going to stop, I'm going to slow my bids down. I'm going to lower my budgets. I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing and try to just like let this ride. When you do that too early, then your ranking slide, your sales slide, your everything kind of goes off the cliff because you didn't stick to the plan. So there's a lot of things to be said for, somebody else basically watching and guiding you along the way.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting that you really started your business, your career within Amazon at a complete trial by fire, as you said, with having to resurrect a sunken ship, pardon me, and then parlayed that into coaching. And I think the analogy you made of even the best consistently need coaching, and exactly making the analogy of athletes is so easy because we see them as great at what they do, but behind the scenes they really do have great coaching. So can you tell us a little bit more about the distinction in your mind between training and coaching, and how you believe coaching has really helped these Amazon sellers, your clients, or just sellers in general, elevate their businesses?
Yeah. So, and this is a very important distinction, I guess. The idea here is that when you're taking training or somebody's teaching you something, it's mostly information being thrown at you from their experience. So here's what I did to get to X number of sales and X% profit or whatever. This is what I did. So this is a case study of how you should do it, right? That's teaching. That's not necessarily helpful for everybody because not everybody's doing that exact same process scenario, has the exact same products. There's lots of different things that can fall through the cracks. The difference between training or teaching and coaching is essentially the strategies will be laid out still, like you get all the strategies, and not just from our experience, but from the thousands of people we help coach. We put that into training, but then as you go through it, it's not just, hey, can you help me generically with this hypothetical brand that I have in this category, right? Oh, I'm selling in the kitchen category. My BSR is 1,000. I'm seeing my sales slip a little bit. Like, what should I do? It's like, I don't know. Like I can't see your listing. I can't see your metrics. I don't know anything about your brand, what product you're selling. But coaching is the deep dive into what you're actually doing. So we actually look at our members' brands, products, listings, metrics, everything. And then we actually say, okay, literally from looking at this, we see that your sessions are low. What's your page one ranking? What's your main keyword? What did you do to try to get ranking on there? Okay, well, your sessions are low. We need to get better keyword ranking. We need to bid some more on your bids for PPC. We need to get a little bit bigger budget on here. We need to be focused and strategic about how you get more sessions, or vice versa. Like your conversion's low. Well, are your images good? Are your reviews good? Your rating good? Your price, is it competitively priced? Is your bullet points in your product description talking about the benefits as opposed to just like features, all this kind of stuff. So as they go through this process, things do fall through the crack. They don't understand something. Maybe it's not in training anywhere. Like this whole issue with Amazon restricting ASINs when you send inventory into Amazon right now. Oh, well, I can only do 200 on a new product. What do I do? Well, great question, because we didn't foresee that happening, right? So this is when you can rely on a coach to say, here's our new blended inventory strategy of sending someone to FBA, someone to, a third-party fulfillment center, maybe even housing some at your home. I actually, for first time, have inventory at my home because I'm like, it's cheaper than storing it at a fulfillment center for now. And I'm going to eventually send it all into Amazon. So things change. It's good to have those strategies as things fall through the crack. And, especially with e-commerce and Amazon, things will change, fluctuate. I don't foresee these things happening forever, but you got to be flexible and you got to be dynamic with it.
What I think is important too is that, when these things come up, on Amazon or in the logistics world or any other marketplace, it's, odds are that these sellers are not the only ones dealing with this issue, especially if it's something new based on an algorithm change or this or that. So, that's why the world of networking and, masterminds is really popular in Amazon, to kind of learn and leverage from each other. But at the same time, that's not always great, because you're kind of just hearing from somebody else's experience, right? And it kind of goes back to the training. It's like, this is a case study. This is what I did, but it might not work for you. But in the instance of coaching versus training, you as a coach, you may not know the answer right away, but you might have had another seller that you were able to fix, and you can take bits and pieces from that to work with them, to fix, to improve, to get to the next step.
Yeah. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody the other day about like how no process or no product's perfect. And I think I was actually with Kirsty, my business partner. I was like, nothing you do is ever going to be perfect, but you're going to try to get the most creative and best solutions at any given time that you can. You're never going to have a perfect product, because if you did, you're probably going to outprice it from the market anyway. So it's not going to be the value that you want anyway. You're never going to have a perfect strategy, because at some point something's going to change and it's going to need to be fixed. So no matter what you do with any of this stuff, you just have to be flexible and dynamic. Like it is, and even before COVID and everything else happened, there was always something that you had to kind of react to. But the best part is 90%, I'd say 98% of sellers on Amazon are more reactive than proactive. And it's the 2% that are proactive and actually kind of, they don't foresee these crazy things happening, but they build a business proactively to make it better and be able to sustain kind of periods of wackiness, that you're going to have a better business and you're going to be more sustainable. And that's going to be a long-term business plan versus, hey, every time something happens, I throw my hands up in the air, blame the world, and I don't know what to do because Amazon's just out to get us. It's like, no, like Amazon's making money from you. You're making money from Amazon. It's a symbiotic, relationship. You should realize that they want everyone who's selling on Amazon to make as much money as they can, because that makes them more money, right? Mm-hmm. The difference is that if things go wacky, as I said, they might have to change some rules, and you just have to essentially abide by those rules. Otherwise, they can shut you down, but it's for good reason. And every implementation of a rule that they put out, or every tweak to every rule, has good reason. It's just people want to, essentially say, well, I can't take advantage of the system anymore. It's like, well, what does that say about you? Like, why are you trying to take advantage of everything? Why can't you
Right.
do things as a legitimate business? Why can't you be long-term sustainable and not just think about short-term, advantages and hacks and ninja things that get you like a small piece more of the pie for a couple months. And then obviously Amazon's going to solve that problem. Right.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think that's one thing that the global pandemic has taught, everyone, is that you need to have a plan B. You need to build your business for sustainability. There are always bumps that are going to come up in the road or unexpected things that are going to happen. But those sellers who are prepared, who diversified the business, who have taken into consideration that things might happen, that your business isn't perfect, your products aren't perfect, and you need to go in with a different mindset of how do I solve problems for myself and how do I be proactive, are the ones that are going to find a lot of success.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, none of us are perfect mechanics, right? And this is an old Isaac Newton quote. He said something about like the person who becomes the most perfect mechanic essentially is, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially will become the most successful at what they do. Meaning, if you're the world's greatest shoemaker or violinist, right? Like you're still never going to be perfect, but you can try to achieve perfection at some point. But with business, it's almost one of those things that like you can try to achieve perfection, but in reality, what you should be striving to do is stay ahead of every curve that comes out, because that's better than being perfect. Because you could have a 200-year-old business model that's perfect now that just doesn't work, right? Like, if you're applying maybe Henry Ford's concept of what business was with the assembly line and all that stuff, and that was your, get the American workforce on the assembly line. That's Henry Ford's business model. I'm going to do that now. It might not be the best business model now. It was a great business model 120 years ago or 115 years ago. But right now it's like, how can you actually achieve that and be competitive in this space, right? Things change. So Henry Ford had as perfect of a business model as you could have back in 1910 or 1908 or 1910. But today he'd be getting buried by the competition because of what they do to think outside the box, right?
Right. And I think it's that creativity that's going to help sellers find a lot of success here as we get into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then the holiday season as well into 2021. So on 2021, it seems like it's a huge question mark for a lot of us here. I know TJ and I, if we were betting men, we probably wouldn't put any money on our predictions for what this holiday season and 2021 is going to look like, just given the volatility. So with that, Isaac, I'm curious what your thoughts are for 2021 and any tips that you have for sellers as they enter this holiday season here and then enter the new year.
Yeah, I think Amazon's going to stop doing business and they're just going to wrap up operations and say, it's been a good run, right? No, I think what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen in 2021 is kind of going to be the same trend that's been happening for the last 6 to 10 years, really. Third-party sellers on Amazon are going to increase the revenue for Amazon. The shareholders for Amazon are going to get incredibly wealthy, and essentially more people are going to shop online. So those three things will hold true. That's like not even a prediction. That's almost a 100% guarantee. Those three things will hold true. Now, obviously, with difference of politicians and presidencies and all this stuff kind of coming in and going, there might be some minor changes here or there. Amazon might also change how they do logistics. They're always evolving their logistics. So right now they put limits on how many units you can send in per SKU or per ASIN, basically per product. They might change that. It might not be as strict as it is now, because they say that they're putting like something like, I don't know, like 6 billion, something like that into warehousing. They're going to have like 86 new facilities in the next 2 years. So they're going to have more space, but that doesn't change the fact that what they're doing now is actually operationally good. Like it's smart, right? Like let's do things smarter, Amazon's saying, and now they're doing it smarter. But maybe it doesn't help new sellers kind of come in and say, look, I'm going to launch a product. 200 units is not enough. Maybe they raise it to 1,000. Okay. At least it's not unlimited like it was before, because you could send in 10,000 units on a brand new product, but that doesn't make sense. Cause then, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to, buy 10,000 units, probably not the best strategy anyway, because you're probably tying up like 365 days of cash flow on one product right off the bat. So we really try to make people understand that everything you do on Amazon has a plan, a strategy, and yeah, you kind of have to work within the criteria and limitations, but at the same time, it's actually helping you try to think smarter anyway. So take it for what it is. And it's just a good strategy by Amazon to try to make their logistics work better. And so you just need to make your logistics work better and find out creative ways to get that to work for yourself as well. So I think logistics wise, I think they'll get more, they'll get less restrictive, but they'll get more smart about how they do things. And I think a lot of people will panic about that. But in reality, I think it's actually going to help the smart Amazon sellers adjust and accordingly be the competitive edge that they have versus everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I'm curious to see the evolution of the marketplace and really see what Amazon, other marketplaces in the space, both domestically and internationally, do to keep up that international demand. I think that's going to be the one key to success on Amazon, and in turn, seller success as well.
Yeah, and you bring up international, and that obviously leads straight into Brexit. And January 1st, England is no longer part of Europe. They think that they're just because they're an island off the coast that they don't have to worry about anything to do with Europe. But obviously this has been a long time coming. This has been 4 years, almost 5 years, 4.5 years. I remember it's June or July of 2016, because we had a conference and everybody's like, what are we going to do? Yeah. 2015 or whatever it was. It's like, what are we going to do about Brexit? It's like, why are you worried about Brexit? Like it hasn't happened yet. Nothing's changed. None of the rules have changed. None of us can predict the future. We don't know if it's actually even going to go through. We don't know when it's going to go through. We don't know the rules, the guidelines, when it goes through. Now that we are more clear about what's happening, even though it's not 100% crystal clear, we do know that, like selling in the UK is kind of a separate endeavor now than selling in Europe. So you just have to essentially say, am I going to sell UK only? Am I going to sell Germany only? Am I going to sell all across Europe? And then you have to make those strategies of what countries do I have to register VAT in? What countries do I import goods into? What kind of costs and production, do I have to get my goods produced somewhere else because there might be trade embargoes or whatever else between Europe and the country that you're currently sourcing from? So expanding marketplaces is one of the things that we really encourage sellers to do, but do it in a smart way. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to open myself up to 10 new marketplaces because why not? Like, my product's selling great in the US. Every other country obviously wants this product too. There's going to be some research behind it. There's going to be some compliance issues behind it. There's going to be some, give and take between governments behind it, some importation guidelines you have to follow. And again, everything that you do just has to be clear and strategic. If you don't plan this stuff out, you're destined to fail almost. Like, you can't just wing it anymore. 2013, you might've been able to wing some of this stuff, but Amazon, governments, they're all cracking down. You got to actually follow the rules now. So that's another bold prediction for 2021. Don't go out and be crazy.
A fair prediction as well.
Yeah.
So Isaac, with that, I want to say thanks so much for joining us here on the State of E-commerce. I know TJ and I have really enjoyed listening to not only how Real was developed, your story, and kind of the insights and coaching that you provide for sellers, but your predictions for 2021 have hopefully, I think, will be spot on.
Yeah.
So with that, we'd love to give you the final word here before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, guys, if you're actually interested in learning more about selling on Amazon, obviously reach out to us. You see the link on the screen. It's goteamreal.com. We got some free training on there. You can go through that, see if it makes sense. If you like what you hear, you can contact us. The other things I would say is, guys, don't put yourself in a state of constant fear, because when you're constantly thinking about all the things that could go wrong about business, about anything, you're never going to have any sort of positive mindset moving forward. So think about this. If you're constantly stirring yourself up in a frenzy about all the things that could go wrong, and this is very easy to do with social media and all the things that the 24-hour news channels that are happening, it's very easy to think about all the things that you could happen, that could go wrong. You could die at any given time. Okay, well, think about how you can live in the meantime, right? Yeah, a plane could crash directly on my house today. It could happen, but I'm not worried about that, because I'm worried about how am I going to live my life successfully, happy, and just fulfill myself in the time that I have on this planet. So think about what it is that you really want to achieve. What's your goal? What's your passion? Are you passionate about having free time? Be financially free. Spend time with your loved ones. Do more traveling or whatever. Obviously not now, but when we can. But just think about what it is that really inspires you to be more human. And then that's really what's going to push you to either get out of what you're doing. And I always say the idea here is that if your passion and desire to do what you really want to do is stronger than the comfort level you have to keep doing what you currently are doing, then that's when you know it's a time for a shift in your lifestyle. So basically, if you know you need to get out of your job because it's crushing your dreams, your soul, your happiness, all that stuff, get out of your job, but do it in a process that actually makes sense for you. You know, I think that everybody has something they want to accomplish, whether it's you keep your job or not. But again, think about this. If your desire to do what you want is stronger, your desire is stronger than your comfortability of keep doing what you're doing currently, that's when you know you need to change. So I think, you know, if that's something you want to do and you see Amazon as a vehicle for you to be able to do that, definitely go to the goteamreal.com, check out the training, contact us for more information. And if we can help you achieve those goals, that's exactly what our goal is. We want people to achieve their dreams and no longer live in frustration, anger, and depression.
I don't know if we've ever had a better final word, because I think you really kind of summarized what we're all looking to do here. And obviously, there's the business side of things, but what we as Payoneer and obviously you as Team Real are looking to do is to empower sellers to take more control over their life and their business and grow it from something that might have just been a hobby or a side business into something that they can truly be proud of, and then have an exit plan to be free and to live their life as they wish. And to that I say thank you, Isaac, as always, for Ben and myself, especially on the day before Thanksgiving. Super thankful for you joining us, and absolutely those words at the end. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
All right, have a good week, guys.